Well, hello everybody. It's a long time I've made a video since, and hope you're doing all well. So I am actually going to be a delegate at the Libertarian National Convention, and I was a bit surprised and shocked. I thought I'd seen everything with the COVID lockdowns, and 15 days to flatten the curve, and we've all run out of toilet paper. I thought I saw it all, and then the chair of the LNC, without asking anybody on the LNC, without asking the oversight committee, never mind the bylaws, never mind the policy manual, none of that matters. She goes ahead, she invites, Donald Trump and Joe Biden. So I'm just going to pan out here and just kind of, give you a little necessary perspective. So the chair of the LNC, I used to be the chair of the Libertarian Party of Connecticut. The chair is the CEO. Their job is to promote the company. So let's pretend we're not a political party for a moment. Let's pretend, we're, say, Coca-Cola. And one day the CEO wakes up and says, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to decide to get our product more exposure and show how unafraid of competition we are. We're just going to put Pepsi in our vending machines. Now, and we're going to do that even though the shareholders paid for those vending machines. Let's think about that a little bit. Now, the first question that comes to mind is, how long is that CEO going to have his or her job? And second of all, did Coke ever get that way by thinking that way? And the answer is no. So I think it is time we had an honest conversation about this, and I don't think that's something that Angela McArdle has done here necessarily. So we have to think about, what political parties do. And they do three things, and they only do three things. That's ballot access, that's worker bees, and that's volunteers. The reason political parties do those three things is to get libertarians elected in the case of the Libertarian Party. And the reason we would want to do those things and have the party do that is because this may sound crazy, but we want libertarian stuff done. We want, we want the Fed ended. We want the troops to come home. This income tax thing is getting kind of lame. The drug war, if this whole let's be flashy and radical thing worked, as Angela McArdle is repeating 40 years of failed history, if that worked, the war on drugs would have ended a long time ago. So the problem here is this approach isn't working. So what are we doing? We're basically abasing ourselves before people on the fear-based mentality that haunts the one party pretending to be two. We've got to have a reality check here. Most people love to use the phrase, most people vote X, okay? And if people are being truthful about that, if they're having an honest conversation, which Angela McArdle and I think the variety of most people aren't, if they're honest about that, when people say most people vote X, if anybody's being honest, they're going to realize most people don't vote. Those are our people, okay? We are not going to get the Trump people. We are not going to get the Biden people. That's a fact. Because there are two types of voters. Voters who vote for something, those are our people, okay? And the reason our membership is down, the reason our money is down, is because we have stopped appealing to our people that are for something, that are for building a party. Now, when we're appealing to the one party pretending to be two, we are appealing to people of the mindset that got to vote against something. And that's the type of people that they quite frankly don't care as long as their guy's doing it, as long as their guy's doing the undeclared wars, as long as their guy is spending the $6 trillion, as long as their guy is kicking your door and trying to tell you how to live your life. And if we want to be honest, if we want to have an honest conversation, we have to relate to people where they are. We can't just flash them. We can't just, show people how edgy we are. We've got to have humility. And unfortunately, in our party, it's been lacking. We're not doing this for us. It's not our job as people that are active in the party to just, say, I'm with the ABC caucus or whatever. And I've grabbed the microphone and look at me, I'm loud and I'm edgy. This is not, I didn't do this for me. And anybody that's sane or anybody that's doing it right, they're not doing it for them. They're not looking to put money in their pocket. They're doing this so one day our kids will grow up in a world where people won't beat them up and take their stuff. They'll follow the basic, rule of, the playground. So let's go to this idea of, we have this once in a lifetime ability to somehow influence a 77-year-old man. Good luck with that. Whether a 77-year-old man is good or bad or whatever, you're not going to change him. And quite frankly, when it comes to all of this stuff that Donald Trump was supposed to, one of my favorites, and I give him credit. He was supposed to do something about this whole price fixing and healthcare thing. And that was the first thing he ran away from. And then when the COVID lockdowns happened, I've only sued my governor twice. Okay, and I'm sorry, those are rookie numbers. I could have done better. But the thing is, Donald Trump said, I'm going to send Attorney General A.G. Barr down there to help you. And don't make apologies, don't make excuses for this guy, because whether you like Donald Trump or hate him, I hate to tell people what they know, but sometimes you just got it. And this is what we all know. You and I know this. Donald Trump, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's right or wrong or indifferent, Donald Trump will do whatever Donald Trump wants to do. That's the last, whole lifetime of Donald Trump. So don't think that you're going to influence this guy or get any attention. So as far as, look, we've got all this media attention. Sometimes there is such a thing as bad attention. And sometimes there's a thing that's called desperation, which is what this was. I mean, let's face it. This was abasement. This was affiliation with Donald Trump for no good, sound reason. We libertarians paid for that convention. We've paid for this party. We've worked really hard to build this. And now, because the chair went around everybody else, did not go through the proper channels, didn't consult anybody, just did it, we're giving Donald Trump an in-kind contribution. I am a delegate. I am not going to go along with that. I am sponsoring a resolution, and we have a lot of support to make that happen. We have to uninvite Donald Trump. We have to claw that floor time back. We've got a political party to build. And like it or not, there's the work of the candidates. They do the messaging. That's their job. The problem I've seen as a chair, I've been a state chair for 12 years on and off. I've been a congressional candidate. I've seen people burn out petition drive after petition drive. I mean, heck, I even helped ruin my own marriage, putting all this time and energy into it, easily $500,000, my time, effort, and energy. And I've watched in the last 2 years to see this LNC and this specific chair that just isn't willing to have an honest conversation about all of the money we're leaving on the table. So, for example, what do I mean? We could sue the people that chase our petitioners out of public spaces. I did it myself. It's easy enough to do. We can claw back some of that money. But when it comes to the big money, you want to know how you raise it? And in Connecticut showed this. Connecticut showed this in the Unmask Our Kids campaign. Just be relevant, okay? That's all you've got to do. Be sane, be relevant. We had rallies with 3,000, 4,000 teachers and healthcare workers showing up, not the core constituencies of the Libertarian Party. And the news comes up, and they're looking for the craziest crank that they can find. And we have everybody they tried to put a camera in. They're like, we just want compassion back in public health. I mean, and the news media, even though they sent the crews down there to look for the cranks, they didn't find any. So if you're looking for media attention, if that's the kind of thing you think is going to work for you, well, you believe in, probably Santa Claus still, or maybe the Easter Bunny, or better, or worse yet, you believe that you can influence Donald Trump. I mean, we've really got to get back to basics as a party. And the number one reason we haven't grown is because we edgelord, we get cranky, we focus on wedge issues like I'm going to offend some people, but I gotta, you know, gay marriage, abortion, flag burning, you know, cryptocurrency. Like basically we pick the most complicated, you know, craziest, you know, complex things. And really our audience is the people who don't know. And they're looking for a reason to show up, and they're looking for, you know, an excuse to say, you know what, I want an adult in the room. I really want to vote for that guy, but I can't because I don't see him. And the reason they don't see that person is because we are deliberately not raising money. I mean, we have to be obtuse to think that after COVID, which was a wasted opportunity of a past LNC, you know, Connecticut demonstrated that it was. We took a different direction. And, you know, we demonstrated we could connect with people in a meaningful way. And so what I'm asking is we've got to start thinking about what we're doing when we start pandering to the one party pretending to be two. The fact is the Republicans and Democrats would never do this. The Green Party would never do this. The Green Party is smart. They're a party. We have to be a party too. And I'm sick of, you know, trying to talk to people about this, you know, and like just libertarians specifically, or in libertarianism. And now they're looking at us like we are all for Donald Trump. So what we've done with this decision is we've poisoned the well. A great libertarian, Larry Sharp, he has one of my favorite sayings: you don't have to be right now. But what you do have to do is you have to keep that conversation going. And what this past LNC has done from the chair down, and especially with this last decision, which was unilateral, which he had no authority to do, which he had no capacity or legal right to enter into, was to invite the worst possible person that she could. And there's no chance of benefiting from this. This isn't going to gain us anything. And by the way, if you think that fundraisers are a function of conventions, you're not running a political party. There's a truth here, if we want to be honest. And Chair McArdle says, let's have an honest conversation. So let's do that. Why don't you take a good hard look how real political parties, like it or not, as abhorrent as they are, as horrible as the effects of it are, they know how to do certain things right. One of them is they reach out to super PACs and they say, hey, special interest over here, you know, I've got this thing over here, and here's how my platform, here's how my guys can benefit you. On the other hand, take a look at us. When they look at our LNC business meeting list and they see name calling and they see like people who are waxing philosophical, the fact is we have this thing called conventions, okay? And at the convention, we decide what the platform is, and we decide what the bylaws are. And the LNC's job, just like any state central committee's job, is to then go raise money, go get ballot access, and go find some worker bees to get candidates elected. To do what, pray tell? I don't know. Pick something like end the drug war, and the income tax. I mean, any one of the big numbers of things that we've been promoting for years that, you know, I mean, agrees with common sense Americans. But the problem is we're doing it backward, and we're doing it wrong on purpose. And it's not changing anybody's mind, and it's not winning over any hearts. So the bottom line is you've got Donald J. Trump, who is responsible for all the COVID inflation, who let, mind you, he let and allowed 49 governors suspend due process and the Constitution and habeas corpus. And basically the good old days we were complaining about violations of the Bill of Rights. Now we're talking about Article 1, Section 8 complaints. And those are very bad complaints. So here's the reality. You can come from a position of fear which this is exactly what Angela McArdle has done. She has come from this position of fear where we have to grovel. We don't. We never have. But what I can tell you, and what I've learned over the many years being in this party, is anything that's hard and difficult and requires honest work, it takes a long time, and it's work worth doing. And we have to focus on being sane and being relevant and talking to average voters about inflation and what causes it, being honest about it. I mean, we could solve things like healthcare without a new government program, without spending a dime. We could just enforce existing law in the books. We could cut the cost of healthcare in half. Now, that's a pretty good sell. That would free up 1/5 of the economy. But you know what? And by the way, that was something Trump promised. Did you get it? This is the thing. Trump can say what he wants. I've heard his, remarks about what he plans to say to us. And the fact is, just like Trump steaks, just like Trump vodka, which sucked, by the way, it was even worse than Dubra, just like Trump University, you're a sucker. You're getting used. You're getting horribly debased and used. So libertarians, last I knew, had a lot more self-respect. And when something wrong was going on, they actually did radical stuff. Like say, hell no, this is not your convention. Our chair screwed up and she was wrong. And we can set an example and we can set a message and we can tell each and every American out there we're serious. And we do that by saying we actually have principle, we have character, and we're not going to be used as you have the press paraded around and you have a bunch of people with red MAGA hats and you make us look like we support Trump. We're not even going to get close to tolerating it. And you know what? This is our moment to demonstrate that we have some real courage and we can do something radical and we can do something principled and we can say no. We will not tolerate this because unlike Democrats and Republicans, when our party makes a mistake, when our chair makes a mistake, we will own it and we will clean house. And that is a message of principle I can stand behind. And if you want freedom in your lifetime, not only should you do that, you have to do that because we've got a lot of good principled candidates that really, they earn votes. They don't go into this vote splitting and say, I'm entitled. Donald Trump is the biggest electoral welfare queen of them all. It's time for us to say, you know what, Donald? You're fired. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in Washington, D.C., and I look forward to firing him as the keynote speaker first thing Friday morning. Thank you all. God bless you and take it easy, and hopefully I'll see you in D.C.